Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Will you join me in prayer, please? Dearest Heavenly Father, as we gather today in this place as a body of allied professional organizations, we ask for your blessings on this event and all of its participants. We pray for your guidance as we learn from each other and further the ideals of our public safety profession. We come from 4 countries, numerous states, provinces, and communities, but every one of us has chosen to serve with selflessness and caring. We pray that you will place your guiding hand upon the members of our profession as they aim to serve and protect our communities. Keep them safe and assist them in providing the highest level of service that all CALEA member agencies espouse. As we go through this week, let us be mindful that each participant at this conference has something to give and that we can grow from interacting with each other. We pray that you guide us as we go about the business of this conference and allow us to return to our homes with a refreshed and renewed sense of service to our respective communities. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Please be seated. Welcome to the 137th CALEA Conference in Tucson. We are all very excited to be here for a promising week of great training, networking, review hearings, and of course, a celebration banquet to recognize agencies awarded this week. Please join me in a round of applause for the Glendale Police Department Office Honor Guard, the National Anthem singer Miss Jennifer Cheris with the Sierra Vista Police Department, and Invocator Regional Program Manager Vince Darrow. We appreciate your participation this morning. To begin this session, we would like to welcome you to Tucson and give you some insight about the area. Here this morning to welcome you is the Tucson Airport Authority Police Department's Chief Scott Bader. The department has been law enforcement accredited since 1996, and in November of 2025, the agency received their 10th award for law enforcement accreditation. Join me to welcome Chief Scott Bader for welcoming remarks.
Good morning, everybody. We're really glad to have you here in Tucson for this year's CALEA conference, bringing together people who care about strengthening public safety and raising professional standards. And this event is one of those opportunities to learn from each other. I've had a chance to partner with CALEA for a while now, and it's been impressive to see how committed everyone is to doing things the right way. Also, Tucson is a great place to host all of that. You're surrounded by the Sonoran Desert, mountain ranges in every direction, and saguaro cacti. When you're not in sessions or connecting with colleagues, there's plenty to explore. Hiking, checking out local art scene, or diving into the city's incredible Southwestern cuisine. Here's to a few days of good conversations, useful takeaways, and maybe even a little sunshine and adventure. I hope you enjoy the conference and everything the Old Pueblo has to offer.
Thank you, Chief Bader, for your comments. The Buckeye Police Department is also a local agency involved in the process. The department has been law enforcement accredited since 2019 and received their most recent reaccreditation in November 2024. The agency is commanded by Chief Robert Sanders. Chief Sanders is also a CALEA site-based assessor and very knowledgeable of the accreditation process. Join me to welcome Chief Robert Sanders for remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tucson, Arizona. I'm sorry to say I'm an ASU graduate. If you're from Tucson, you know that. You understand the rivalry. Thank you for having me. I'm extremely honored to be here today. I had 2 speeches written, but we're going to break from that because that's usually what I do. My PIO gets upset at me for that. And the reason I'm going to break away from my 2 speeches is because I prefer to be more authentic. So for 30 years, I've been working for a CALEA accredited agency. My first agency was Peoria from 1996. I remember when I was at rookie officer and someone said, "We're getting accredited." I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what that is. But as I've grown up through the agency in Peoria, I was a deputy chief there, and now I've come over here to Buckeye for the last 12 years. I truly understand the power of CALEA, the power of accreditation, and what it means to me as a command staff member and as that officer who doesn't really understand the necessity of stability of processes, policies, and how we go about our business. And when Glendale came up here, I pivoted again on what I was going to say to you this morning, because I'm a proud father of a Glendale police officer. He's been there 2 years. And when he asked me where should he go to be a police officer, that was part of the decision-making process, was looking for an accredited agency just because of the power that it brings to him and the professionalism that I know he would receive there in Glendale. The second part of my speech, and I'd like to take the time to thank the accreditation managers. I've seen the challenges, the struggle, the resilience, and in this day and age of emotional wellness of our officers, of our sworn, I think it's very important to recognize our accreditation managers. And I'm going to do them a favor. Ed Goodman, who 10 years helped us get accredited in Buckeye. It was not an easy task because there was always that change resistance. Now we have Stephanie Erb, and also I'm going to mention our comm manager, Alyssa Soto. And so it's really important for me as a chief, command staff, to make sure we recognize the people who do the work behind the scenes. It's very difficult. It's very underappreciated. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank all the accreditation managers, professional and sworn staff. So thank you. Welcome to Tucson. Have a great time. I'm honored to be here in front of all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Sanders, for your comments. The road to accreditation usually begins with the CEO, but it is managed by an accreditation manager who is also committed to excellence and focused on improving the agency. An achievement that exemplifies this level of professional commitment is the CALEA Accreditation Manager Certification. This award is presented to current CALEA accreditation managers who have provided significant contributions to the public safety profession and CALEA accreditation. We would like to take this opportunity to award the recent recipients of the CALEA Accreditation Manager Certification Award. As your name is called, please come up to be recognized. Stacy Allen, Ottawa, Kansas Police Department, Ottawa, Kansas. Stacy Allen has served as the accreditation manager for the Ottawa Police Department since 2018, successfully leading the agency through reaccreditation processes in 2019 and 2023. Her dual role also includes management of the department's property and evidence room and administration of the digital evidence system. She believes accreditation is a vital framework for professional excellence, accountability, and continuous improvement, ensuring the department consistently meets the highest standards of service to the community. Kristen Bowers, Mebane, North Carolina Police Department, Mebane, North Carolina. Kristen began her career with the Mebane Police Department in 2008, and she has served as the accreditation manager for the agency since 2019. Kristen states, "Our agency benefits significantly from the accreditation process because it strengthens accountability and daily operations. It promotes consistency across the organization, ensuring that best practices are applied in every aspect of service. Additionally, the web-based assessment offers valuable insight into our agency's day-to-day performance and supports continuous improvement." Sequoia Morrison, Georgia State University Police Department, Atlanta, Georgia. Sequoia has served with the Georgia State University Police Department for over 11 years. She began her career as a shift patrol officer before advancing to the Crime Suppression Unit. Demonstrating her commitment to professional growth and operational excellence, she became one of the first officers in the agency to complete Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT training. She later transitioned to accreditation, where she now serves as the accreditation manager. Through each phase of her career, Morrison has demonstrated a steadfast dedication to professionalism, accountability, and excellence in campus law enforcement. Christopher Snyder, Chesterfield, Virginia Emergency Communications, Chesterfield, Virginia. Mr. Christopher Snyder has served with the Chesterfield County Communications Center since March 1999. In August 2021, Mr. Snyder assumed the role of Operations Support and Accreditation Manager, where he oversees the department's CALEA Communications Accreditation Program and manages its administrative operations. His leadership reflects a long-standing commitment to professional standards, operational excellence, and continuous improvement in public safety communications. April Corbin, Harrisonburg, Rockingham, Virginia, ECC, Chesterfield, Virginia. April Corbin began her career in public safety communications in 1995 with the Harrisonburg Police Department as an emergency communications officer. In 2005, following the merger of 3 public safety answering points, she was promoted to training manager, where she helped standardize training during a significant organizational transition. She became accreditation manager in 2019 and has since overseen 2 accreditation cycles. In addition to those present this morning, certification was also received by Katie Ferguson, Monroe, New York Community College Public Safety, Rochester, New York, and by Christopher Baker of the Troy Police Department, Troy, Ohio. Again, congratulations to all recipients, and we look forward to your continued contributions to CALEA accreditation. Please welcome Executive Director Craig Hartley.
Well, good morning once again. This is our 137th, can you believe it, CALEA conference and meeting. And when I say your conference, I mean that sincerely, because we have this your conference, your commission mentality. And I mean that because of our strong commitment to professionalism and this organizational culture of really focusing on serving you to promote professionalism in public safety. And we also do that while holding ourselves accountable. And our constituents have to be accountable too, to the very, very highest standards. It's difficult, but collectively, with your engagement in the accreditation process, we use this term to say we are all setting the standard for others to follow. Your efforts really not only improve your agency, but also affect the broader industry. And trust me, you have to believe me on this. Others take note and admire your efforts. You are the leaders. As each of you already know, or you will know after this week, this venue is where we get our work done. And more importantly, we get this strong opportunity to spend time with you, those that we believe deserve the support that we want to deliver. Really, in a large way, our work is about our mission. And that mission for me is always creating viable and important opportunities for public safety entities like you to demonstrate their commitments to professionalism. It's that simple. And if you didn't realize it already, and you've got to pay attention to this, the very best public safety entities and agencies are represented right here in this room. Right here in this room right now, and you are now among the elite. And for me, sincerely, that fact is so incredibly powerful to me. It makes me want to don that pastoral robe and stole. Vince, I won't take your glory in any of that. And ask you guys to share the peace with each other right in here, because you're sitting with greatness, if you will. But I'll let you guys take care of that the rest of the week yourself. But share the peace, share the information, and do take advantage of the valuable time and experience of others that have taken that same honorable challenge that you have in pursuing accreditation. We worked as hard as we can to create some networking time for you, and it's going to include a Thursday evening outdoor event at a place called The Last Territory. It's right here on property. It's within walking distance, but it's downhill from the hotel. And that dinner will be served at about 5:30 on Thursday night. Now listen, you guys are great planners. I know you do well in this, but in planning, just remember I said it's downhill. That means you have to walk back uphill. So y'all have to work around that and work around your schedule, so plan accordingly. We've got some limited transportation for folks that need it to that, and also folks that need it from the Fairfield end where people are staying. If that hotel is for you and that's where you're staying, there's some information in the app itself that can help you navigate some of the times and riding opportunities associated with that. For those that are staying right here at this resort, in the sleeve of your room key, there is a Spa Well discount coupon for 10%. But just because you're CALEA folks and we negotiated hard for you, you're going to get 20% off that. And there's also other recreational opportunities while you're here. I think you can ride bicycles, you can go to the putting green and the driving range, and you can access some other complimentary resources while you're here too. So take advantage of that. We hope you can enjoy. If you can't tell already, we are incredibly excited to be right here in Tucson. I've never been before, but we get to experience a little warmer weather, and some of us, like me, have been experiencing some pretty harsh winters. In fact, I was shoveling snow up until just last week, and although we don't have a designated host for this particular event, I got to take this time to tell Chief Scott Bader, again from the Tucson Airport Authority Police, for helping us for all the logistical issues he pulled off and sharing a little bit of that local knowledge to make it feel a little more like home while we're here. And also, Chief Sanders, thank you from Buckeye, Arizona, for sharing your thoughts kind of organically about what you do in the process and how it contributes to making your lives better there. You know, for me, and you guys have known me for a long time, that whole accreditation concept, well, it's not just an idea. It's just not something that lives in a book. It's really a solution. It's a strategy to persistently advance us all towards excellence. And it's a perpetual process, unfortunately. It's never complete, so it's not a book you can finish reading and start over on something else. It's perpetual. And it will give you proof that the concept this morning, we're going to talk about this, is always prevailing, always moving us forward. Chief Sanders' comments reinforced for me a little while ago that accreditation matters. And it sincerely makes a positive difference in the lives of others, whether it's police officers or security personnel or people that provide the training to them, the telecommunicators that shuffle and triage the calls, and to everyone they serve. It makes a difference. And for that reason, you should always remember, and I use this slogan a lot, your work matters. And you sit in an incredibly influential position. One of the best things about working in this industry, if you need help, all you have to do is ask. And all the great people around you will step up and kind of carry the ball. And we've had that this morning, and they do it just like the professionals that they always are. So Chief Bader and Chief Saunders, thank you again so much for your commitment of time and talent and information this morning. Listen, although you probably can tell a little bit by my accent, I'm not from this part of the country. If you couldn't guess, that's true. But it's clear to me that it's a great place to live, raise families, and visit. And if you need ideas about things to do, clearly after the training is over every day, let me give you a couple of options. Clearly, after the training is over every day, you can visit the Tucson Botanical Gardens, or you can visit the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum. You can even might want to continue going to a place called Mission San Xavier del Bac. That was a Spanish Baroque facility founded in 1692, really with the purpose of serving and supporting the community while also expanding Catholicism in the region. Now, you guys are pretty observant, and you may have even noticed, there is a beautiful golf course on property here. Again, completely off limits until classes are over each afternoon. And those of you who choose a more sedentary lifestyle, it's kind of a cool video there. And for those that have a more sedentary lifestyle, the pool is out here too. Again, 4 p.m. plus, and I'm going to be watching. I promise you, I'm going to pay attention to what's going on there with you guys. All of this that you have here, and all the friendships and the fellowships and those types of things. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to review, listen to me, 131 agencies for action by this commission for either accreditation or reaccreditation. And completely impressive. And we're going to celebrate their successes again on Saturday night with a banquet to honor all that they've done, all that they've accomplished, and all that they aspire to do. Furthermore, again, we get our work done here. The commission, we're going to finalize some standard amendments and promulgate those and make sure the distribution takes place. And the reason that's important is because it keeps CALEA as the most contemporary, most incredibly powerful accrediting body across all of the credentialing organizations. And that's why we're able to say we are the gold standard in public safety agencies. While you're in attendance here for me, please use the conference app. Class times will be posted on there, schedules are on there, You can download resources. You can receive notifications and modifications. You can even communicate with other conference attendees. The exhibitors can be presented on there, and you can share information with them. I always like to take just a few minutes and note the power of the exhibitors, and we've got a few here that I want to make sure you pay attention to. One, Power DMS by NeoGov is one of our trusted partners. The National Association for the Accreditation Leadership is a new entity in our organizations, and we want to draw attention to them. The National University, Versaterm, Carta Analytics, MedE Incorporated, and Post University are all here with us this week. I ask you to share some time with them. Listen, the conference app is really, really easy to use. Really easy to use. All you have to do is go to the Apple Store or whatever resource you heathens use that don't use an iPhone. You go to the Apple Store and you download that app itself and you use it. And all you have to do is locate your conference email that you register with. It'll send you an activation link. You link it, and you can do it. And listen, I'm that guy that every time there's an operating system upgrade, I need help finding the buttons. And I have absolutely no problem using the app, so you can too. The training theme, if I can go on past the app now, the training theme for this conference is the integration of artificial intelligence for public safety agencies. And we've entitled it Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Public Safety. Now, for me, an old country kid, that sounds a little bit like this cross between a public safety summit and maybe a Netflix documentary or a Dateline story or something like that. But in reality for us, it's really something much, much more important. It's a conversation about how we continue protecting our communities in a world that is really growing faster than sometimes we can keep up with. You know, many of you know her. My wonderful wife always tells me, don't talk about things that remind people how old you are. Don't do that. And I always get a little laugh about that because I sincerely think there's some other attributes about me that probably give it away, and I'll let you guys be the judge of that. But despite all of that, I always reflect on how far we've come, even during my 4 decades of doing this type of work, and how we've worked diligently to keep constitutionality and the protection of others really front and center in our service delivery models and our approaches. But if you think about that, it really comes with some pretty profound challenges, right? It's a difficult thing to do. I've always believed that it's really easy to keep people safe. That's the easiest thing to do. What makes it hard to do is when you put strategies in place that keep people safe, they can quickly and inappropriately start to infringe on individual rights and freedoms. So it's really largely incumbent upon folks like us to critically review technologies and other types of resources to ensure that we have balanced safety and security with the principles that have to remain supreme, which are really focused on liberty and democracy. That's our roles as leaders. That's your role as a part of a member of this room this morning. Those that know me, I'm really bad about telling short stories, and it drives my staff crazy. I can't just tell them, hey, let's go do this. I have to tell a story with it, and it just makes them crazy, but it's fun for me. So when I was starting to prepare my comments for today, of course, I had to interject some story. So here you go with a little history lesson. You know, long before telephones were common, it really became necessary to come up with strategies to develop how we get people to fires quickly. And so they installed what was called public fire alarm boxes. They were called call boxes. Many of you will probably remember this. So you can imagine if there was a fire in a building, an occupant could run over and pull the lever on the alarm box. And that lever would send this signal down line, and it rode on the telegraph framework, if you will. And at the fire station, they had this big board that lit up, and a light lit up and indicated exactly where the fire services need to respond. It was really at that time this remarkable advancement. It was fast, it was efficient, it was far better than someone running down to the fire station and yelling, fire, 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 and everyone not really knowing which way to go and all the chaos that ensues around that type of thing. But people, being people that they are, some decided that they were going to start pulling the fire alarms by mistake, or self-interest or just a way to harass firefighters, I think. Incidentally, when I was a police officer, I took a lot of pride in harassing firefighters too, so I can kind of connect to that in some way, but I'll save that story for another conference. But this fire alarm solution really created another problem for folks. As you might imagine, how troubling it was being a firefighter in the late 1800s, and you had to get all the horses ready and the carts ready and figure out a way that you're going to pump water and all that kind of stuff, and then you had to rush dramatically all the way down to the location the fire was at, only to find out it was a false alarm. And all of this happened because of somebody's incaution or irresponsibility, or really their desire, like me, just to annoy firefighters sometimes. But obviously, this made the firefighters furious. Can you imagine all the work that goes into it? And even their horses, they just stood around with long faces. That's my dad joke for the day, so y'all help me just a little bit. But so what did they do? They engineered this solution, which we just talked about, which originated in London. And I can only imagine that all the development went into this. And they were sitting around and they were talking like this. Hey, mate, somehow we must, with the matter of cost in hand, we've got to catch these bloody misfits before their indiscretions. That's my best English accent. I appreciate y'all recognizing that for what it is. So they installed these metal manacles. Essentially, if you came from where I'm from, it's called a bear trap, right? And it was really designed it's a contraption to capture the person who pulled the lever and get them to stay there, like this lovely lady on the firebox up there on the screen. And once the lever was pulled, that clamp activates around the person's arm. And, well, clearly it stayed locked. And you can understand that you could report the fire, but at that point, you're pretty committed to staying at that location. And this level of accountability, and I'm sure it seemed like this great idea to prevent the misuse of the misguided, right? It was a good solution. But obviously, when you pull a fire alarm, the next step, at least in my head, is to get away from the fire, right? I want to do that. So this strategy, in some ways, took care of one problem, but it failed to complement the broader intent, which is to save lives. Basically, in that particular solution, you were creating this human sacrifice in the interest of others, especially if the horses were slow that day, right? I mean, it was a whole process you had to go through. But for the time, it was incredibly ingenious. It was effective. And I can imagine it reduced the prank calls, although I suspect sometimes there was some pretty awkward conversations that occurred at the false alarm firebox, if you will. So this story, nearly 135 years ago, I tell it to remind us about adopting new strategies sometimes is imperfect in the beginning. There's these unintended uses, there's these mistakes that arise and the behaviors that many times we could never have anticipated. However, the solution is not always to abandon the technology, but you have to refine it and you have to work intelligently around it to make it work more smartly. Now, if you're able to travel across time with me from that time, it becomes clear that we've always faced these types of challenges in our industry. Whether it's how we're going to manage extortionately high cell phone costs when they were first introduced to the industry, when it was very difficult to even get the big boxes in our cars, if you will, to managing data storage problems for body-worn cameras or in-car systems, to managing juvenile issues and segregations and their protection against adult offenders, to controlling domestic violence and recidivism in that area, or gangs, or drug enforcement, or drone implementation, or CADs, or RMS, and I could do this for a long time. It goes on and on and on. And this is because we have always attempted to bring the very best public safety solutions to the crime fighting space that we work in at the most reasonable cost. And we do all of it, while controlling for the associated risks, maintaining focus on constitutionality and respect for the rights of others that we're serving in a democracy. Now, nearly 40 years since I started sorry, sweetheart, I didn't mean to tell them that again. 40 years ago when I started this, that we're still dealing with this same technology solution issues, but we're almost having to apply the same decision-making skills in a new environment. And what still matters has to be our anchor in those decision-making. Over the past several months, CALEA commissioners and staff have really been engaged very steadfastly in developing standards around artificial intelligence. And Dan Shaw and others helps us make that happen. And Matthew Benson, a commissioner, serves SRIC on the front row here with me this morning. Really work on this and coming up with solutions around this that don't hamper you. And as many of you already know, these issues that we face are incredibly complex. And they're also socially complex as well. In fact, I've heard some folks talking about artificial intelligence even this morning, and they talk about it like somehow it's a deity. They compare artificial intelligence to some type of deity out there. I heard them this morning, it's all-knowing, it's all-powerful, it lives in the clouds, and it makes miracles happen. Now that I say it, it sounds a little bit like the Wizard of Oz story that I saw a couple of weeks ago again with my children. Incidentally, if you use AI-driven functionality and prepare a prompt that says something like this, please define for me the strongest public safety accreditation program, and I'm very proud to tell you this, and I hope you are too. It says this: the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies is widely recognized as the gold standard and most comprehensive, most rigorous public safety credentialing program in the United States and internationally. That's what it says. And then it goes on to tell you why, with comments about the breadth of standards and the international and even global platform, the intensity and review of its independent decision-making, and the sophistication of the process in general. But listen to me further. What it forgets to do is it doesn't do things like the contributions and the integrity and the professionalism of the people that work in this space. Chief Sanders talked about that this morning. It didn't mention how accreditation managers work tirelessly to ensure policies always work to resolve standard requirements, and how proofs of compliance, well, they demonstrate adherence to organizational direction and controls. It didn't even talk about how those applying CLIA accreditation have to work tirelessly to keep others in the agency focused on its purpose, and how the process works to make things safer, more effective, and even more rewarding. Guess what else? The AI didn't generate a response that acknowledged the professional leadership from people like you in the room, which is the hallmark which makes the whole process work. It didn't express the importance of transparency and engagement with constituents and all of those that are being served by the agency, to include like educational communities, business representatives, political affiliates, and public safety providers themselves, all working within the broader criminal justice system. It didn't do that. It didn't talk about the incredible passion that goes into keeping standards contemporary and all the efforts required to confirm the veracity of our publications. Didn't do that either. But I can promise you this: you will be reminded of all of those things this week during training classes, during social networking and time to be with others. You can talk about it during business meeting and during the celebratory banquet and during times when you just get the opportunity to engage with others having similar challenges and experiences and successes. And the reason AI doesn't note all these things is because in many ways, AI just leverages the resources that are already present in the technological environment, and it formulates responses and solutions using something that you've already created. Well, despite the failure of AI to comprehensively explain the value of CLIA accreditation and those incredible professionals that work in it, we decided to take advantage of this subject and kind of tee it up, if you will. We're going to tee it up for Focus of Training this week. And I hope that tee it up comment doesn't drive anybody back to the golf course too early, because this stuff is incredibly important. And because in some way, we are all having to address the prevalence and technology in our professional and even our personal lives. How are we going to manage it? We know it can potentially free up our time and for things like that need real human intervention, but it doesn't achieve consciousness. It doesn't do what you do. It can potentially make or support decisions. And probably most importantly, it can create opportunities, at least from my perspective, for humans to be more creative and really progress well beyond our current state of effectiveness. And for that reason, we've invited some really important speakers to be with you this morning and throughout the week. Our guest this morning following this open ceremony is a gentleman who's a former Deputy Chief of Police for the Fairfax County, Virginia Police Department, where his entire career in the person of Christian Quinn. He revolutionized the agency through the application of technology. His areas of work included cyber forensics, unmanned aerial systems, major crimes, operations, school security, organized crime, and many other areas of interest during his time there. He's a smart guy. He graduated from George Washington University with a master's in forensic science, and he even holds a certificate from Massachusetts Institute of Technology in machine learning and artificial intelligence. I can barely even say all that, and Christian brings a lot more to the table. He's the principal at Fulcrum Innovations, and he's serving as a business consultant on an international platform, really to talk about effective and ethical solutions. And he accomplishes this really because of his own technical expertise and understanding of the same political landscapes that we work in. And we could not be more excited to have him here with you this day for 2 sessions on the impacts of policy around this and how you can use AI more effectively in a way that complements your needs. On Thursday, we're going to follow up on these initial feature sessions with the National Policing Institute's director in the person of Mr. Jim Birch on the application, noting opportunities and concerns for consideration with practitioners and a roundtable discussion about that. Each of you know Jim's work is always anchored to the core principles that each of you value, including community fairness and trust, and doctrines that really support jurisprudence and fairness within the due process system. Jim's a long-time trusted resource for me. I trust him, and I think you will too. Clearly, throughout this conference, we're working to ensure that they remain value-added for you as practitioners and leaders in the industry and provide you opportunities to grow and really take solutions back to your home agency that work for you as well. As we move to develop and adapt standards around this, it's important for me that you hear this, that we want our discussions to focus on a couple of core principles. The first one is, how do we protect the rights of citizens? Secondly, through the AI process, how do we prevent victimization and re-victimization? How do we contribute positively towards prosecutorial efforts and ensure we're not hampering those? And finally, ensuring that we have human intervention where it's appropriate and responsible. While we move to leverage and support all these technologies, we challenge you, if you can, to remain knowledgeable, and you constantly measure your efforts against the risks. That's what we do, making informed decisions that complement your status as the best in the industry as a trusted public safety advisor. We encourage you to be bold and support your staff, and don't hesitate to remind them of their own oaths of office. And remember, as I told you at the outset of this, you sit in an incredibly influential position. And this is the time to use your position for strategic and learned advancement. As we begin, and I begin to close this opening session, I want to thank all of our staff, the CALEA staff, that have literally been working on this conference now for about 3 years, and to make sure it's successful for you. And I want to remind everyone that our commissioners and delegates, they work without compensation for the love of the game, if you will, to ensure that CALEA remains relevant and it continues to meet our objectives, and we couldn't accomplish our objectives without them. Finally, they help us bring others to the process, and I need you to engage in that too. I talk about this often, but we have peer-to-peer recruitment benefits available. So if you bring an agency in as another agency, then there's some benefits for you, and we can talk to you about that as well. We encourage you also to bring another person from another agency to the Omaha, Nebraska conference happening July 22nd through the 25th. And that time, the conference focus is going to be on using public safety professional associations to your best interest and learning how they work too. Let me close this by telling you thank you for being here with us this day and throughout the week. We appreciate what you do, and we understand the complexity of that. We want to make sure we're doing our job to complement you. Thank you, and enjoy this CALEA conference.
I just came to say hello. Hello.
1, 2, 2, check. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's weird, weird, weird.